So far this decade sucks ass. The economy is in shamble, inflation is at an all-time high, which the furries really seem to be enthusiastic about for some fucking reason. The black KKK took my baby away, giant space ants have fortified Colonel Campbell into power with the black goat of the woods, my cat gave birth to a puppy, and worst of all, it's the second coming of the First Reich, which means that my life is really gonna suck. Although something's not quite right with Colonel Campbell.
I was in my room, and I was just like staring at the wall, thinking about everything, sitting down, thinking about nothing.
What are you talking about?
So as an act of defiance against those Red Army ants, I think I know exactly what I'm going to do. Now, I think most people who are going to watch this video obviously know what Hong Kong 97 is, but for those of you who don't know, Hong Kong 97 is an indie bootleg SNES shooter released all the way back in 1995. It was developed by Callum Kurosawa and a guy from Square Enix within about 3 days and translated into Chinese with the help of a student. Now, Hong Kong 97 is considered to be one of the worst games ever made, and it was made with that in mind. Callum Kurosawa has stated in an interview that he made it specifically to shove it down Nintendo's throat and to make it as offensive as possible. There is a reason as to why Chin is a heroin addict in the manual, because that's shit that you really don't want getting out there in Japan especially. Now, because it was unlicensed from Nintendo, he couldn't make cartridges for it. He had to use floppy disks. And in order to play those floppy disks, you had to have a copier, which was illegal in Japan. At least at the time. Now, as Kurosawa put it, it's kind of like selling to a thief. They don't usually pay for games because people who have copiers are generally pirates. So he wrote a couple of articles for some underground magazines to help promote the game, distributed it through mail, and that's pretty much it. He only sold about 30 copies. And then he just forgot about it. That's why that search for that dead body took so long. Now, popularity of the game in the West, however, exploded the moment the AVGN did a video on it. Now, granted, videos beforehand did exist. However, James Rolfe is the one that turned Hong Kong 97 into a cultural phenomenon here in the West. Back in 2015, you couldn't go 5 minutes without somebody either playing Hong Kong 97 or parodying it on YouTube. Granted, those days have long since passed, however you do get people like the Healthy Video Game Nerd who have covered it in way more detail than even James Rolfe could have. But its glory days in the West have long since passed. And this is what leads me into the crux of this video, and my ultimate plan against those commie bastards. Because there is one more piece of media relating to Hong Kong 97, a lost sequel by the name of Taiwan 2001.
Taiwan #1!
Oh, yourself! Uh-oh.
Now, while Americans view Hong Kong 97 as a much more ridiculous game, in China and Japan, that's a different story. And by China, I mean Taiwan, the actual government of China. Anyways, over there, it's a different story. Much of the stuff in there is incredibly offensive. And I'm not just talking about the dead body either. I think the best way I can describe its appeal over there is that it's a Diet Grezzo 2. It's just so fucking offensive that it becomes endearing and entertaining in its own awful, awful way. Granted, it's also way less blasphemous than Grezzo 2 ever was. Add a little bit of anti-communism and the fact that international internet back in the turn of the century wasn't exactly the best, and you've got a recipe for a game to be popular all the way back in 2005. And said game gets a fan-made sequel which ultimately ends up getting lost. Now, because this thing was fan-made, the developers of Hong Kong 97 had absolutely nothing to do with this. However, Callum Kurosawa did acknowledge its existence. Instead, the game was developed by a couple of teenagers in Taiwan, obviously, and these teenagers went under the name Kusoge Soft, or Shit Game Software. And considering how these teenagers claimed the game was worse than Hong Kong 97, this should tell you all you need to know as to why this game exists in the first place. Now, unfortunately, none of these claims can actually be proven true or false, since, like I said in the beginning of the video, this game has since been lost to time, and is only really survived by screenshots and archives of the original website. Now, the earliest archives of the game that I could find all date back to 2005, and screenshots of the game running seem to indicate that it was made during the Windows 95 to XP era. Now, the story of Taiwan 2001 is almost completely identical to Hong Kong 97's, both of course featuring invasions by communists. However, there are some key differences. Most notably is the fact that instead of playing as Bruce Lee's heroin-addicted relative Chin, you're playing as Wang Shu Min, who is there to educate the Reds instead of mass murdering them. And instead of Deng Xiaoping, rest in peace, the ultimate weapon is a captured Wang Shu-en. Now, who the hell are these people? Well, the website gives a bit more detail into who the hell these guys are supposed to be. Now, apparently, Wang Shu-min is supposed to be the future representative of the Republic of China. And that's about all we're given. This is really giving the Star Wars Holiday Special a run for its money. Now, most if not all of the characters are taken from a Taiwanese textbook, which only really adds to how shitty this thing is. But just wait until you get a hold of the sprites. Look at this shit. Look at it. I don't know what half of these are supposed to be. I think these are words by Wang Shu-en. I have no idea. What is going on here? Now, if that wasn't bad enough, just to add insult to injury, they didn't even get rid of the background colors for the sprites. So the background colors are all visible, and they're just sticking out like a sore thumb, and some of them blend in with some of the projectiles, which makes this whole situation even worse. But the final nail in the coffin is that they replaced the dead body from Bosnia with a Ken doll. So what about the gameplay? Well, the gameplay is, as you'd expect, exactly like that of Hong Kong 97. They didn't really change much except the cars are replaced with a motorcycle, so there's that. There is, however, one addition, which is that you can place down a bomb or something. I don't know if it's a bomb or if Wang Shu-min just commits jihad. I think this is the bomb in question, but I have no idea. Of course, that's kind of what you have to do when dealing with a game that's almost 99% likely to be completely lost. Especially with no leads that would have the damn thing and a broken download link. That's really all I can do. All I can do is just speculate, which raises a very important question. Why did I make this video? Well, this is one of those two lost games that I've had a bit of an attachment to for quite some time. Although not the oldest one. I'll probably make a video on that one later. I found out about this game back in high school. I had gotten some free time in programming class, I decided to go browsing Wikipedia because, yeah, I like to do that. Shut up. So I was browsing the page for Hong Kong 97, and this game happened to show up, with the lines, "The teenagers claim that it was worse than Hong Kong 97. So I decided to look up gameplay footage of it on YouTube, and there were absolutely no videos of it. Yeah, people have made videos since then, but this is back in 2015, and we're in 2021 now. And this thing is still lost. There's no point in asking Callum Kurosawa because A, he probably doesn't have it, and B, he really doesn't want to answer questions about Hong Kong 97 anymore. The only other option I can think about would be to track down the guy who made the screenshots or find the creator. I don't know who initially took those screenshots, and the creator has pretty much fallen off the face of the earth. Although he did make one last post before he left. When asked if there would ever be a remake of Taiwan 2001, the creator simply said,
Nah.
Well, that was a disappointment. But hey, I beat El Supersonic Q and the Healthy Video Game Nerd to this, so I must be doing something right.
Who flying this thing anyway?
Wow, you know, from the other side, that's kind of annoying.
Sorry about that, guy. They stick all the jerks in Tower 1.
That's it. I'm coming over there.
Yeah, why don't you come over here? I got something for you.
Shut up, the both of you!